it is now recording. I'm going to start the webinar. Everybody ready? Yep. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. I will let Nicole take over.
All right.
We
will just give it a minute to let everyone get in because it's just loading here. There we go.
Loading up.
Hello, everyone coming in. We're going to just start in a second. We're just waiting for everyone to get to load in.
You're coming on fast. 47.
Oh. Yeah. We're coming in pretty quick.
Yeah, it's going well.
There we go. All right. I'm just going to give everyone another minute just to get everyone in. And then we will start. Really appreciate everyone coming out tonight. I know it's a little early for some of you and a little late for some of you because we're full across Canada here. So really appreciate all the support. And I think we're pretty much there. So I am going to start. Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole from Niagara Travel Agent, and I'm here with a group of agents tonight, and we are hosting our supplier Boutique Escapes. We really want to thank you all for coming out to join our presentation. And we are here with Krista Tovell from Tovell Travel, Lori Ross from Away Vacations, Alicia Mitchell from Evening Star Travel. We have Chris Poulin from Voyage Extraordinaire. We have Anna Taglassi from Anna's Travel Adventures. We have Yvonne Lepere from Lepere Travel, Michelle Godet from Inspired Travel Adventures, and Val Burnett from Wanderlust Getaway. And now the team at Boutique Escapes will introduce themselves.
Thanks very much, Nicole. My name is Susan Lawrence from Boutique Escapes.
I'm Peter Lawrence.
I'm Sandy Vellaconia from Boutique Escapes. Boutique Escapes is a family-run tour operator. We are actually under the Nexion umbrella with our fellow Nexioners here today. We sell only in packages. They are custom designed just for you in mind. So your likes, your dislikes. That's why it's important to make sure you tell your agent what your dislikes and likes are so we can tailor the package exactly to you. Today, of course, we're talking Christmas markets. Boutique Escapes' philosophy of travel is no different than when you buy a house. It's all about location. We want you to be somewhere that's fabulous out your door. Maybe Trafalgar Square in London, the Ponte Vecchio in Florence, Piazza Navona in Rome, looking at the Pantheon in Athens. So we want to make sure you are in a spot that you don't need to take a metro, you don't need to change at a metro, public transportation, and that's gone. You're where you need to be when you book a Boutique Escapes package. Before you leave for Europe, your package will contain your itinerary with all your vouchers. It's almost like hand-holding. We'll actually tell you what time to get to the train station, how to exactly stamp your tickets, very detailed so that you can feel comfortable going. We book tours, transfers, hotel, train. We'll even make your restaurant reservations if you've got a special anniversary or a birthday happening, or you just want to make sure you've got reservations one night. Boutique Escapes will do that for you. There are 4 of us, myself and Sister Sharon and Sister Susan that's also on this, and my brother-in-law, Peter Lawrence. So that's the 4 of us that make up Boutique Escapes. We were actually started in the year 2000. So we have 20 plus years behind our belt. And what you can know is that when Boutique Escapes does your package, we've been there and done that, because in a normal year, we're just going to kind of erase last year and this year off our memories so far. We usually spend 3 to 4 months in Europe, re-inspecting hotels, seeing new hotels, taking tours, meeting with transfer companies, and more importantly, going to those restaurants that we recommend you go to. In your package, you'll have boot tips that Susan and I and Peter that go to Europe will tell you our favorite things about that corner of Europe, that city. So with that, I will turn it over to Susan. Okay, thank you, Sandy. At Boutique Escapes, we want to engage you emotionally so that you can experience life as a local and life as a tourist in the cities where you're going to visit. Today, we are going to visit 3 amazing Eastern European gems: Prague, Vienna, and Budapest. The average temperatures in this part of the world at Christmas time, December, is anywhere between, let's say, 4 and 0 degrees Celsius. Daytime temperatures might be a little warmer and nighttime temperatures a little cooler. In any case, it's jacket weather. We know that in Canada. You need to take warm enough clothing when you're on a vacation. You don't want to be walking around and be too cold as you're visiting sites in the winter, because part of the excitement of being in Europe during these markets is to be there at night when the atmosphere becomes electric and becomes alive. On this particular package that we are promoting right now with the agents that are on today, you will only change hotels twice. You will have a total of 3 hotels. Our hotels, as Sandy said, are in the historic centers of cities. So whether that's Prague, Vienna, or Budapest, you are walking distance to major sites. You have all day access to enjoy these sites. You can enjoy the Christmas markets while they're going on. And if you need a little siesta or you need to warm up, just pop back over to your hotel, have that siesta, enjoy the warmth of the hotel room. And as San said, on request, we can get you a beautiful evening meal together. We can get a nice restaurant reservation for you. And you can try a different restaurant every night, every lunch hour, every lunchtime, every night. So the dates that we have for you on your in the current package that we're promoting are December 2nd to 11. Those can be changed if you absolutely can't make it at that time. Do let your agent know, and we can see what we can do about keeping the rate the same, or doing what we can to get the perfect package for you. I am going to ask Peter to go on mute. I'm going to go on mute and video off, and I'm going to turn things over, and we are going to have Sandy take us to the Czech Republic. Thank you, Susan. Okay, so here's a map just so that you can get your orientation of where we're going, starting in Prague, then going to Vienna, and then to Budapest, so Eastern Europe there. So when you see the clock on the middle right part of your screen, that is Prague's Old Town Square. This is the most sought after area for tourists because it's where the astronomical clock is. It's where there's many restaurants. It's where it's so vibrant in the evening, you just want to stay out and walk till all hours. Close to the Charles Bridge that I'm going to touch, and over to the castle that you see on the left side of your page. Now, this is the church in the Old Town Square, and what we're looking at is actually a great aerial view of it. Those towers shoot 80 meters up into the air, unmistakable. There is so much architecture in Prague. There's Renaissance, Gothic, Romanesque, Baroque, everything that you can see all in one city. On the left side, when you see the tower there, that is actually one of the entrances. And it was a protection, a fortification. So that's where people would, soldiers would sit to protect the city. And we're going to have a close-up of that tower coming up as well. But this is an aerial shot looking to the Old Town Square. This is Prague, Old Town Square. Doesn't it make you just want to walk right into that picture? I always say it's very fairy tale-like because of the look of the buildings, because of the colorfulness of the buildings. This is, of course, the Christmas market in the Old Town Square. And you can see the buildings in the foreground there, the orange, the green, the blues, the amber colors, the decorative paintings on them. We're going to get a close-up of the square now. Some of the buildings, whenever you're in Europe, one tip that you must do is look up, because you miss a lot by just looking straight or down. This is a balcony that's on top of one of the buildings in the Old Town Square. Just the facade itself is so inviting. The yellows, the drawing of the banner across it, the greens, the different colors of green. On the left, the two-toned pink. Look at the ornate facade over the windows, that beautiful dormer, how stunning that is. That's what Old Town Prague has in the main square. Absolutely stunning. It feels like you're stepping into a Disney fairy tale. And again, the colorful houses, just making you want to stay more and walk into the evening when they're all illuminated at night. Great picture here with the carriage ride that you can take right through the Old Town Square area. And you can see the daytime, how busy that Christmas market is. It's actually in the largest city, which is Prague of the Czech Republic, and the largest Christmas market. So that's why we feel you need to be near that Old Town Square, where you're a 2-minute walk to this fantastic square. Okay, and now we have a Baroque church in the background there. This is all in the same square. So much going on, the atmosphere, the food. When you're walking, it's just everywhere is drifting, a waffle smell, or the turtleneck cooking, or a sausage cooking on a grill, everywhere. Of course, you can see the sign for the corn dog, because Americanized a bit when you're in European cities, but whatever your fancy is, there's definitely food for that. As the lights are going down and the twinkling lights are coming on, you can see the beautiful Christmas tree in the main square. And again, that beautiful church in the background, just the incredible colors of the roofs. And in the evening, this is where you're going to be spending your evening. In fact, one of the days you've got an evening food walking tour through the Christmas markets. You won't need dinner, because there's going to be enough that everything you taste is going to be enough to give you a dinner. So here we have the lights coming on, and you can see down the avenue, the Christmas lights that are on, the little chalet houses all lit up in the square, the atmosphere. You can just feel the atmosphere. I know I can when I look at that. Prague is one of my very favorite Christmas markets to go to. I never get tired of it. Every night I'm out walking the Old Town Square, just taking in the people there, wandering around maybe with a hot cider or a glass of mulled wine. This is what you do. And this is your first part of your Christmas market. Beautiful decorations that are made, of course, in the Czech Republic. You can see decorative balls. You can get little Christmas gifts, knitted Christmas gifts. Here's a candle. Every little kiosk has something different to offer you to maybe pick up something for yourself or a friend. And here are the turtlenecks, which is a very traditional dessert. They take dough, wrap it around a metal rod, cover it with a sugar and sugar glaze. Then they toast it over open coals. So kind of think s'mores. When you look at this, you can taste that s'more flavor coming through. They once it's done, they roll it in cinnamon and sugar, and then they fill it with a cream. Sometimes it can be an ice cream, but usually in the winter they're filled with cream. Your clients will see, or you will see this everywhere that you go at a Christmas market in Budapest or Prague. Actually, you will see this. You have to taste it. Just one of those things that you want to go back for more. And again, the toastedness on the outside that gives you the flavor of a s'more. Another spectacular view of the Old Town Square at Christmas. This is every night, and you're there for 3 nights on this package. So you've got plenty of time to wander through the Christmas market. Many of the stores will stay open late into the evening, just so that they can get that last minute shopping in for clients that are visiting Prague at Christmas time. Snow. You're from Canada, everybody. You know that snow can happen in December. So we always recommend when you go in December, make sure you've got a warm jacket on, bring a hat. Some people use umbrellas in the snow if it's wet snow falling, but you can see from this picture the coziness. You want to have maybe your down jacket on, or make sure you've got a nice warm jacket with a scarf that perhaps you've picked up at the market that day. We're going to leave the square. You can still see it in the background. And there's Prague's probably most Instagrammable photo, the astronomical clock, built in 1410 by a man that was working for the University of Prague, Charles University. You can see that it's got an astronomical dial, which is its most famous feature, and then a clock that tells the time, as well as there are wooden statues on the clock of saints and of apostles. Every hour, the apostles do what they call the apostle walk, and it comes out and a circular motion. They walk around the outside of the clock. Very similar to if anybody's been to Germany and the Marienplatz in Munich, where you can watch as the hour strikes, the march going around the clock there as well. One interesting point of note, I'm a World War II history buff. When the Nazis had come into Prague, they bombed the Old Town Square, because this is where most people were hiding out. That's where most people lived at the time, many people. And They bombed it. So the statues were made of wood. All the wooden statues burned on that day. And at the end of the war, the city of Prague had the statues rebuilt some 3 years later, where it was almost completely fixed to the original. And then it was actually finished in 2005. So when you go, you see the completed clock, knowing that those wooden statues were actually rebuilt, recarved because of the bombing from 1945. So again, a very Instagrammable moment. When you leave the clock, you're going to come to that tower, one of the protecting towers of Prague. 3 of them, one is at this end. And you can tell by the look of it how old it is and how you definitely are still walking through that fairy tale when you approach this beautiful tower. This is looking from the bank of the river that the old town is on towards the castle. Prague Castle is actually the largest ancient castle in Europe, in the world, actually. You can see St. Vitus Cathedral at the top there. We're going to visit shortly, but let's talk about the Charles Bridge. The Charles Bridge has some 30 statues and statuaries on it. It's built back in the 13th century, started under King Charles, hence the name, the Charles Bridge. You can see some of the statues, one of the saints on the left side you can see, and imagine 30 of them that you're walking through. Quite an amazing feature to get you to the other side of the river. And there's one of the other statues on the bridge. It's a very vibrant and happening corner of Prague. A lot of tour groups meet at one end of the bridge. There are buskers on the bridge. There are people selling their wares of items made in Prague. And at Christmas time, this bridge will definitely be loaded with locals selling their products and their handmade products and their food products. Another beautiful statue on the bridge. It is worth, when you're in Prague, spending some time just looking at the statues. You do have a castle tour on your Christmas markets tour that we've put together for the agents. And you do walk across the Charles Street Bridge. The guide will talk about the statues on there and give the history of the bridge. It is definitely one of the focal points in the city of Prague. Now here we have the beautiful palace, which is actually home to the President of the Czech Republic. This is the entrance that you're going to go through. You can see the spires of St. Vitus Cathedral behind it. One of the most beautiful rooms in the palace, a great hall. You can tell by and I want you to notice the chandeliers hanging and how different they will be when Peter talks about Vienna, but how spectacular that cloistered ceiling is. And imagine back in the day, the beautiful balls they would have in this room, the spectacular events that would be held here, just walking through a piece of Czech Republic history. Here is the outside of St. Vitus Cathedral, the jewel in the crown of Prague, as they call it. You can tell by that spectacular Gothic look that this is going to be a very interesting visit. Here we have the cloistered ceilings. You can see stained glass. One of the things to note is some of the glass is actually hand painted. Not everything is stained glass, but that's something your guide will go through and talk about the stories of why there are some stained glass and why there is some painted. In any event, it is a photography dream to be inside this building. Stunning stained glass. There is the rose window with their purple and pinks that we saw from the outside. You just can, when you're in this, it's not Paris, but it certainly has the feeling of being in Paris at Notre Dame and the Hunchback of Notre Dame, definitely. Just a spectacular one to visit. This is St. John of Nepomuc. He is one of the patron saints of Prague. The story goes, he was drowned because at confessional, he would not tell the Queen's secrets. So they drowned him, and he is now one of the saints of Prague. And another one of the saints that is actually the St. Vitus himself, which is when you see something like this in Prague, you know that their relics, their remains, their bones will be buried in the crypt. You can visit the crypt. It doesn't go there on the Boutique Escapes tours, but you can definitely stay longer if you wish and visit the crypts underneath. A very interesting visit as well. So much in every corner, really, of any European city. When you leave the castle, you will come to what they call the Golden Lane, which is period houses from the 15th century that they've redone so that you can see what it looked like, what the bakery looked like, what the kitchen would have looked like, what a shop would have looked like in the 15th century. But this is where whomever worked at the palace would be living under the king. And this is where they would go home, even though they're on the castle complex, and work for the king. Ah, another Christmas market. This one, of course, just behind St. Vitus Cathedral. Again, spectacular places to walk after your tour, just to have coffee with maybe some liqueur in it, to have hot chocolate with a liqueur in it and wander around. Again, the colorful buildings that just shows you the fairy tale continues even when you're at the castle complex. So a second market to visit. Here is an evening picture that is just gorgeous and inviting. I just love Prague so much. I think it's the quintessential Christmas market. And I love that your tour starts here so that you can take in all what is the Czech Republic. And they're numerous because there are about 12 markets in the city that you can visit. Most of them on your own. A couple of them you will visit when you have your walking tour for food. St. Vitus Cathedral lit at night. The back of it, again, with the beautiful chalet style market behind it. And again, grab that mulled wine or that beautiful coffee with maybe some liqueur in it. These are houses that are on the same side of the river as the palace. Now we're looking towards the Old Town. You can see the steeples in the background of the Old Town Square, but notice at the front, again, they've carried on that tradition of the colored buildings. Even though these buildings will be newer than the ones in the town square, they still have that tradition of the colored buildings, which I think is just so fairy tale. Now we're going to end the tour actually talking about the Jewish quarter. Not included on your tour, but we can include a tour for you if you like as a supplement. The reason I put this in is because it's one of the most intriguing and unique areas of Prague, especially the Old Town. This is Kafka, who is, of course, the great literary writer from the 20th century, born and raised in the Jewish quarter in Prague, the statue erected in his honor. What is so unique about the Jewish quarter is their cemetery, listed on National Geographic's top 10 to visit in Europe. And you see what they call a forest of tombstones. That's because the Jews were only allowed a certain portion of their land to bury their dead. So when they ran out of room, they had to keep filling it in with earth, then burying their dead, fill it again, bury dead, fill it again, until the corner of the cemetery that has the most tombstones is 12. That means on that particular plot, there are 12 people buried there. They move the tombstones up as they fill it in out of respect for the dead. It is quite just the most intriguing corner of Prague to go through. It is the winter time. If you decide you are okay with it, it is all a time outdoors. So if you're prepared with your warm jackets, you can also add a Jewish quarter tour on. So now let's talk about food in Prague. And as I've mentioned, there's nothing better than wandering the Christmas markets with a mulled wine or a cider or a coffee that's got some liqueur in it. You can see it, all the booths, they sell Czech Republic wine, they sell beer. Here is a robasa. We call it a kobasa or a sausage, but it is a robasa in the Czech Republic. Many booths have it. It's a pork sausage with, of course, the classic mustard or a red sauce. And there again is the tridelnik, the traditional dough wrapped around the wrapped around the metal bars and put over hot coals and filled with, and you can see, delightful amount of treats. So if you have a sweet tooth, this is going to be what you need to do. Gingerbread. Every market in Europe, you will find gingerbread. One of my absolute favorites. The gingerbread cookies there that you see are soft and thick. They're chewy, unlike some of the gingerbreads that we get in Canada that can be more like a ginger snap. These ones are thick and beautiful. This is a Pilsner or Kel, which is also available in Canada. We have a Czech beer tour on your tour. You will taste 10 to 15 different Czech beers. You'll have appetizers with it. You may even have enough that you don't need dinner that night. You'll see how beer is made, and then you'll taste it. What can be more Czech than beer? And this is just a wall of different Czech beers. So even if you're not into beer, it definitely is part of the culture in the Czech Republic. So a great tour to have on your Czech Republic tour in Prague. Great. Well, thank you, Sandy. And I'm going to ask Peter to unmute himself and put his video on, and he can present Vienna.
Thank you, Susan. I'm not sure why my virtual background didn't, oh, there it is, it did come on. Okay, so now it's time to head from Prague to Vienna. You will be on a mid-morning train to Vienna, not too early a departure. You can sit back, relax, and enjoy the 4.5-hour train ride on a first-class coach to arrive mid-afternoon, upon when you will be whisked away by your private driver to your hotel in the historic city center. And when Boutique Escape says historic city center, it doesn't just mean that you will be in Vienna city. You will actually be within a 5 to 10 minute walk of Stephansplatz, the main square of Vienna. And if you take a look at the map, right underneath the eye of Vienna in the top right corner is the area of Stephansplatz, the historic center of the city. Your hotel will be near the Rathaus, the Hofburg Palace, near Karlskirche, with many beautiful animated streets right outside your hotel. Now let's start with the most beautiful street in Vienna, Grabenstrasse, a little bit like Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills or Via Condotti in Rome. This is where you will find the beautiful shops, Tiffany, Hermes, Louis Vuitton. It's also the area of beautiful buildings. If you take a look at this slide on the left, we have a Haussmann-style building with its ornate wrought iron railings, something like what you might find in Paris. And if you look at the top, you see the beautiful statues gazing down on the shoppers and sightseers. Now, why would there be Christmas trees in this picture? Well, just imagine living around the corner and you need a Christmas tree. You don't go to a tree lot like Home Depot. You head to beautiful Grabenstrasse where you select the perfect real Christmas tree. Now let's look at the same street as dusk approaches. We're looking in the other direction. Where else would a street be lit by chandeliers but in Vienna? And you can just see the influence of the Habsburg Empire and the opulence of the buildings, statues, and just the whole vibe of the street. And now at night, people wandering in the beauty and the animation of the street. Another street, icicle lights lighting their way. And another, more beautiful chandeliers, all a short walk from your hotel. Now, once you've walked around this fairy tale like downtown area, why not head to one of the Christmas markets? This particular Christmas market is one of the biggest ones, and it's at the Rathaus, the city hall. At the main entrance of the Rathaus Christmas market, you will enter through these amazing lit archways with these hanging big ball decorations. And in the background, we see Frohe Weihnachten, Merry Christmas. And in the far distance, the illuminated Rathaus. And now on approaching the Rathaus, there are these charming little streets with these little alpine chalets. What they've actually done at the Rathaus is created an alpine village with many little streets. And here you can see the windows of the Rathaus with its marvelous neo-Gothic design. This 19th century building is massive. There's over 200,000 square feet and almost 3,000 rooms. And in front of it, the enormous Christmas tree with a beautiful display in front of it. And here's one of the little streets with its alpine village atmosphere. There are many different displays set up, a Santa's workshop, a Frosty the Snowman, and what a wonderful experience if traveling with children. And in the middle of all this, a skating rink. So instead of walking down the street, you can actually skate through them. No need to pack skates, they're available for rental, but what a wonderful way to experience the fairy tale atmosphere. And no, Canadians, hockey is not allowed. I'm going to turn it over to Susan for a moment. She's going to tell you a story of what happened to her when she was at the Vienna Christmas market just a few years ago.
It is quite something to be at these markets and to have beautiful carolers singing. So as I was standing with my beautiful mulled wine, enjoying it, looking around, I was actually by myself. And one young woman walked up, she was about 25 years old, and she started to sing just out of the blue, right in the middle of this little street of the Christmas market. Well, about 10 seconds later, somebody else came up and stood beside her and joined her. And then someone else, and then someone else. And before long, right in the middle of the Christmas market, one of the Vienna youth choirs did a beautiful flash choir song of Stille Nacht, Silent Night in German, with the choir director there himself directing these beautiful voices. It was quite a memory. And this will go on throughout the Christmas market, throughout the season. I'll turn it back over to you, Peter.
Thank you, Susan. And of course, Christmas decorations. Wooden ornaments are very important throughout the Germanic countries, and Austria is no exception. And in the front at the bottom, you can see a selection of wooden decorations. A little higher up on the purple cloth, you might see some that might be appropriate for children. And at the top, again, some beautiful hand-painted decorations. Now, just as in Prague, candles are important in Austria. Not only do they have Christmas scenes, as we see on the right, but the big one on the left is a candle depicting Hundertwasserhaus, an apartment building designed by the Austrian artist and architect Hundertwasser, who is well known as an opponent of straight lines. He found them soulless and unimaginative. And if you wish, you can actually pass by Hundertwasserhaus. It's about a 30-minute walk from Stephansplatz. Gold ornaments, gold and red ornaments. You're in Austria, the country who has won more medals in alpine skiing than any country in the world. So why not a skier creatively designed around a pine cone? Now, of course, you're hungry again. Perfect. You're in Vienna, the home of Wiener Schnitzel, Apfelstrudel, and the famous Sachertorte. Here's a typical market stall offering mouth-watering cookies, pastries, and bread products that you will see all over. And what market would be complete without its selection of meat products, various cured and smoked meats and sausages? In fact, one of the traditional dishes of Vienna is the famous Wiener Schnitzel, meaning Vienna cutlet, sliced veal, pounded flat, coated in salt, flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs, and fried in copious amounts of butter or lard. Suppe and Brotteig. You're hungry, maybe a bit cold, 4,000 miles from home, maybe you're missing your little dog or your little cat. Why not some comfort food? A delicious bowl of soup. At the market, you will find soup and bread, a heavy soup served in a bread bowl, perfect food for a cool evening. And this is why one goes to a European Christmas market, to walk around, sip a glass of hot mulled wine in Vienna. It's called Glühwein, hot spiced wine with so many different recipes, spices, and wines to choose from. And of course, gingerbreads everywhere in all different shapes and sizes, the perfect gift. Now, before we leave the Christmas markets, I should mention there are 13 in Vienna. In fact, walking in the historic center, it is hard not to come across a Christmas market. Even the smallest square will have one. Now, one of the must-see sites in Vienna is the historic St. Stephen's Cathedral on Stephansplatz, the most important church in Vienna, maybe all of Austria, dating back to the 12th century. The colorful roof of St. Stephen's is one of the symbols of Vienna. The original roof was actually destroyed by a fire in 1945 during World War II. The roof is made of 230,000 glazed tiles of different colors, which form various mosaics and patterns. And here you see one of the mosaics represents the double-headed eagle, which is the symbol of the Austrian Empire under the rule of the Habsburgs. You will have a ticket in your Boutique Escapes package to go inside the cathedral and see the beautiful interior. Now, once you've had your walking tour of the historic center and you've visited the inside of the cathedral, you might, once again, be a little hungry. Why not head over to Hotel Sacher? It's about a 10-15 minute walk. You can enjoy a slice of the famous Sachertorte. And of course, there's nothing like an evening out. And what could be more Viennese than an evening out at the famous Vienna State Opera House, maybe a Mozart or a Strauss concert. Once you've booked the package, you will send your agent a link that they can forward to you to purchase tickets for a concert or opera of your choice that might be performing while you are there. And around Christmas, there are pretty much concerts every night. But imagine going and seeing the Nutcracker Suite performed at the Vienna State Opera House. Hard to imagine a more memorable experience. A 25-minute drive from the city center is Schönbrunn Palace, which dates from the 17th century. It was the main summer residence of the Habsburg rulers, lavishly decorated It's known for its grandeur. There are over 1,400 rooms, of which 45 can be visited. And of course, its beautiful gardens. It's one of the must-sees in Vienna. You can see in the decoration in the stateroom a reflection of the opulence of the Habsburgs. The art, the gold, and the music room. We almost half expect a member of the royal family, maybe Marie Antoinette, a Habsburg herself and future wife of Louis XVI of France, entering the room, sitting down to listen to a quartet of violinists. Now, once you finish at Schönbrunn Palace, head over for a demonstration on how to make something typically Austrian, apple strudel. After the demonstration, of course, you'll sit down and enjoy the strudel with a nice cup of coffee. And you will leave with the recipe so you can try it at home. And Schönbrunn Palace would not be complete without its own Christmas market right outside its door. Maybe a glass of Glühwein might hit the spot. Or maybe there's still a little bit of room after the strudel to have a little bite to eat. Boutique Escapes will also include tickets to the Belvedere Museum, one of the world's greatest art museums containing works from Van Gogh, Monet, and of course, the Austrian artists, most notably Gustav Klimt, late 19th, 20th century. Klimt's primary subject was the female body. A famous quote attributed to Klimt was, "All art is erotic." And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Susan, who's going to tell us about what happened to her one day in front of this famous Klimt painting, The Kiss.
Thank you, Peter. Interestingly, everybody out there in Zoom land, while the Eiffel Tower is the most popular spot in Europe for proposals, this painting, The Kiss by Gustav Klimt, which is in the Belvedere Museums, is the second most popular place for proposals. Lo and behold, when I was there not too long ago, a young man from Portugal turned to me as I was looking at this beautiful painting, and he said, "Would you mind taking a photo of me as I proposed to my girlfriend?" And in his left hand, he showed me the ring box. So of course I obliged, stood back, waited for him to get down on one knee as I not only took a photograph, I actually videoed for him on his phone. So he was able to have a beautiful memory with his future wife of the proposal in front of the kiss. And I'll turn it back. Okay, here we go. This is me now. We are going to leave Vienna. You will be picked up at your hotel and taken to the train station in Vienna, where you will enjoy a short, approximately 2.5-hour train ride to Budapest. And after relaxing on the train, you'll arrive in Budapest, where you will be met by a private driver who will whisk you over to your hotel in the historic center. And when I say historic center, as the other two mentioned, we really mean historic center. 5 minutes away is St. Stephen's Basilica. A few minutes in another direction and you're at one of the famous shopping streets. 10 minutes away, maybe 12 minutes away, is the Parliament building, the beautiful Parliament building. And across the river here, we can see Buda Castle. So what do we know about Budapest? Created in 1873, it's actually a conglomerate of 3 cities. The most notable two, of course, are Buda and Pest. How do we keep each side separately? How do we know which side is Buda? How do we know which side is Pest? Take a look at the map here and you can see Buda Castle on the left side of the screen, and on the right, you can see the Hungarian Parliament. The left side is actually a hilly area. The right side is flat. So on the left side, we have Buda Castle on the hill. So we're calling that side, it is the Buda side. On the right side, where we find the Parliament building in its beautiful splendor, has to be built in an area that was flat. It is on the Pest side of the water. So now you know the difference between the two sides and how to keep them straight. Buda is Buda Castle, the hilly side, the Buda side, and on the right side, Hungarian Parliament, where it's flat on the right side. Let's take a look at Chain Bridge. This bridge was the first permanent stone bridge built to connect the two cities of Buda and Pest. It spans the Danube absolutely beautiful and a symbolic joining of the two cities, made of iron and stone, but most specifically iron chains, which gives us the name Chain Bridge. Continuing on, we have beautiful St. Stephen's Basilica. I'm going to start with the inside because we're going to end with a bit of a view. This beautiful church actually houses the relics of King Stephen, the first king of Hungary. And you find the mummified right hand, as you do find relics throughout Europe, pre-Vatican II, when each church had to have a relic. In this one, you can see the mummified right hand. It is the church itself is a neoclassical design and was finished in 1905, which is interesting compared to many of the other cities that we've been looking at, because this is slightly newer. There's a picture of the dome at the top. So as you're inside and you look up, you can see neoclassic, because the lines are very clean, very straight. And this is where we get our idea of neoclassic. Now we're at the very top, we're inside, and we're looking at this spectacular view of the square. In fact, one of the best views you'll find in Budapest itself. To get to this point, you can take an elevator up and then continue with steps. There are approximately 42 of them. Or if you're brave enough, you can try and manage all 302 steps to get to the top. But what a view you're rewarded with. If you look at the far side there, straight ahead of this picture in the background, you can see the hills of the Buda side. In fact, you can even see the dome here, and on the right, you can take a look at the area of Fisherman's Bastion and St. Matthias Church. So beautiful views. We can look down on the Christmas market. It is certainly not the biggest Christmas market in Budapest, but the Christmas market outside of St. Stephen's Cathedral or Basilica is perhaps called the coziest. Behind the little shops that I'm going to show you, the little chalet buildings, are terraces and restaurants. So you can actually go behind and sit down and have a meal, or you can walk around at the front area and have something quick to eat. The stalls, very similar to what we've seen, little alpine village here, and selling wares that many of them made in Hungary itself. Here we have at night. In fact, nowadays, when you're in Budapest during Christmas at this Christmas market, there's actually a traditional and a 3D light show that is projected onto the Basilica in the evening. It is absolutely spectacular to see this beautiful light show. Several European cities have this. Even small towns will have these light shows. This one is particularly beautiful. Take a look at this. Right in front of the beautiful St. Stephen's Basilica, you can see this amazing tree, lights radiating out of it, and it too, like Vienna, has a skating rink, a small skating rink set up right behind this tree and in front of the church. Handmade flutes, why not? And pottery. What a beautiful gift to bring back for somebody. Our package will have you at the Christmas markets prior to Christmas in Canada. So you can do much of your shopping when you're away. Why not pick up something beautiful and handmade, wrap it in some plastic wrap, carefully look after it on the way back, but imagine bringing a piece back for a family member or a very close friend and saying, when I was in Budapest at the market, I know you love red. I thought of you and I picked this up for you. What a beautiful gift to give to somebody over Christmas time. A beautiful memory for them and for you. We talked about the Opera House in Vienna. This opera house is often referred to as a Little Vienna Opera House, built during the Habsburg Empire as well. This one is smaller than the opera house you would see in Vienna, but still very regal, still very majestic, and much more of a cozy feeling when you're inside. Today, they are restoring the outside. It is expected to be finished in the next few months. And of course, COVID making everything go a little bit slower, but this should be done and all scaffolding should be off. It should be absolutely beautiful. They are also doing works inside, and they will hire the ladies who you're looking at here are art historians as well as artists. And this is the type of worker that they choose because they want this to be as close as possible as it would have been during its heyday at the original time. And here's a picture of the inside. Again, we've got this beautiful granite, beautiful marble, the red, the travertine, the chandeliers. You definitely get the feeling that you're in somewhere beautiful. Inside, a lot like what you would find at the Opera Garnier in Paris with the beautiful painted ceiling. Being in this opera house, and as well as being in the Vienna State Opera House, hearing a concert is incredible. I know any of you out there that have already heard this, you know what I'm talking about. You definitely get the vibe that you're looking at something special. You're listening to something special. The acoustics, in fact, inside the Hungarian State Opera House are on par with the acoustics at La Scala in Milan and the Opera Garnier in Paris. Now, if you're a little chilly outside at the markets, why not head to the huge market the food market in Budapest, where they also decorate inside. Look at the top here and you can see the chandeliers hanging down, the light chandeliers. Again, icicle lights strung across like Peter was showing us in Vienna, and decorations everywhere. So you'd be a little bit warmer if you've had enough of outdoor markets and now you want to try something inside. You can do wine tastings here, you can do food tastings here, enjoy walking the market. In fact, it's so big, they even have tours of the market. If you want, you can have a tour of the market added into your package. I wanted to put this picture in simply to show you how quiet it was Christmas of 2020. So this was last year, only a handful of months ago, although now we're in May. So in December last year, but gives you really the idea of how quiet it was back then in December because of COVID. But still decorated and still beautiful. Trees decorated. Here's a little market. This is in fact maybe 4 minutes from the hotel that we have in the package for you right now. Decorations hanging from these beautiful trees. Little market stall set up in the background. Still something you can buy just on your way to a restaurant or walking to another area of Budapest. Here you walk by these beautiful little markets. Why not? Same in Vienna, same in Prague. Look at the beautiful lights hanging over the buildings, hanging over the streets. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, we get to the striking, imposing, and impressive finest example in Budapest of Gothic revival and Renaissance revival, the Parliament building. Located on the banks of the Danube, it sees in normal times, approximately 700,000 visitors a year. At Boutique Escapes, we believe it's important to not only see it from the outside, but also see it from the inside, which is why in your package, you will have a ticket to have a group guided tour inside the Parliament buildings. It is impressive on the outside and also on the inside. There are offices, there are chambers, there's a post office, there's a library, they have a hairdresser on staff and a doctor. Let's take a look before we go inside, how it's decorated at Christmas. Of course, they're gonna have beautiful lights, Christmas tree out front. Take a look at the inside. Magnificent with marble, glass, stone, travertine, ironworks, gold. There are 88 pounds of 22 to 24 karat gold in decorations in the Hungarian Parliament building. It is the third largest national assembly in Europe. Truly a sight to see from the outside and the inside. Absolutely breathtaking. The chamber, of course, the floor. Now we've traveled to the other side. We're in Buda now. We're on the Buda side of things. We're higher up, and you can see the palace in the background. You can see St. Matthias Church. Beautiful vantage point here, and you can get an idea of temperature. This photograph was taken in December. Heavy jackets, scarves, mitts, toques. As Sandy said, dress for the weather, and you will not be disappointed. So the beautiful Palace as we're on the other side here. Walking now towards the castle side and St. Matthias Church, you pass this beautiful archway and get to Fisherman's Bastion. Fisherman's Bastion is actually a collection of 7 high-pitched stone towers. It has medieval parts, part of the area that you're looking at, the wall there. The original walls that were formed the castle were built in the 1700s, but Fisherman's Bastion itself is named after the guild of fishermen who lived under these medieval walls in what was often referred to as Fishtown. So the name stuck. It's called Fisherman's Bastion, with beautiful views of the Parliament side, the Pest side of Budapest. Take a look again. This is a picture in December. You can see the people are dressing warmly. There's no snow on the ground here. And I always think how lovely it would be to be in Europe at the Christmas markets and have snow come down. It happened in Vienna for me, and it also happened in Salzburg. It just is a picture perfect, like you've walked into a fairy tale when you see this. You pinch yourself, you can't believe what you're looking at. I want you to notice in this picture at the top there, the roof of St. Matthias Church. This church actually dates from the 1300s. So where it's right behind Fisherman's Bastion, you can see the high-pitched towers on the left and on the right. And I do have a photograph here in summer, just to give you an idea, because it's the best photo I could find with the colors of this roof. And let's go inside. Unlike something you're going to see in most churches, of course, through Italy and France, this is painted inside. Take a look at the detail and the color. It's the magic of the color, the vibrancy of the color. So rather than the heavy woods that you might find in some of the Germanic countries, Germany, what you might find even in Italian churches, heavy wood at the pulpits, etc., you're going to find this looks a little bit lighter because of the painting and because of the designs on the wood, which almost resembles a Byzantine feel because of the tiny little bits looking like ceramic, the little squares that they've painted on looking like ceramic. Take a look at that altar. Absolutely spectacular, and unlike anything you would have seen in the other 2 countries. Now, you're close to the end of your visit. You're going to be heading home soon. Why not enjoy one of the special attractions, if you find you have the time for it, one of the hot mineral spas? A beautiful attraction in the city, hot water baths. Most noticeably, this one notably is Seceni Spa. You can have a visit to the spa. You can enjoy yourself and watch the steam rise. In the winter, as the weather is cooler, the temperature of the water will be anywhere between 35 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius. So you can really enjoy. Think about your trip, think about all the touring you've done, relax in those healing waters, and prepare yourself to go back for Christmas in Canada. Another picture of the baths. Absolutely spectacular. Now, food. At Boutique Escapes, we are big foodies. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, a festive winter treat in a wonderful fairy tale land. The smell of roasted chestnuts is an amazing part of the market experience. And what is equally amazing is walking around the market, munching on a bag. They're given to you in a paper bag for about €5. Crack them open and enjoy the warmth of the chestnuts as you're walking the market. Potato latkes. These look like they're ready to eat. Pass one over and put a dollop of sour cream on it, which the Hungarians seem to put on everything. And these beautiful cabbage rolls smothered in onion, sausage. You can just imagine how they were cooking and the beautiful flavors and smells you would get from tasting this. And of course, that very special dollop of sour cream. Goulash. You cannot go to Budapest without tasting the goulash, an absolutely hearty soup and seasoned meat, vegetables with the national spice, paprika. And paprika in Hungarian means pepper. It is distinctly better than the paprika that I have in my kitchen. When I come back from Hungary, I will bring maybe 5 big containers of paprika. And I can tell you that my daughter, who loves paprika, knows the difference between the stuff that I can still find from purchasing in Hungary to the stuff that I might get at Safeway. So a beautiful gift to bring back. They don't weigh very much. Of course, they're not gonna, you can bring some Ziploc bags, put the entire thing into a few Ziploc bags. It's not gonna make a mess on your clothing. What a great gift. What a great stocking stuffer for somebody who's a foodie. Give them some real Hungarian paprika. And another specialty of Budapest are langos. They can either eat, they'll either eat these sweet or eat them with a savory topping. And of course, chocolate. Chocolate you will find everywhere throughout the Czech Republic, Austria, and in beautiful Budapest. So marzipan, different chocolates. This one's got an array of them, of course. Again, something beautiful to bring back for a friend or a family member or for yourself. And as a reminder, the photos are copyrighted Dreams Time and Boutique Escapes. I see we do have some questions here. We're going to try and get things wrapped up. We've got about 5 minutes to finish here. Sandy, are you able to take a look at the Q&A, unmute yourself, and we can answer some of these questions if you want to read them out, Sand, and Peter, I'll ask you to unmute yourself as well. There are no questions in the question and answer section, so perfect. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, excellent. Then we are right on time. I'm going to ask Nicole to come back on and our agents to put their video and unmute themselves, and we will wrap it up.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. This has made me really hungry. Thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you Boutique Escapes. And just a reminder, if you want all the details of the package emailed to you, reach out to the advisor that invited you to the event. And also remember, Boutique Escapes can book pretty much anything in Europe for us, all custom as well. So if this isn't exactly what you're looking for, reach out to your advisor and we can put something together for you.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, I will let the agents say goodbye. Team Boutique is saying goodbye to everybody out there, and I'll let the agents say goodbye, and then I will end these recording.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Bye, everybody.
All right.